I think you can go a long way back there. I guess from my own experience, I grew up and nobody really talked about periods. Like you didn't go down that aisle in the supermarket where like the tampons and pads were or anything like that. And if your mum bought that, it was almost like it was hiding it from you as well. This was my experience, and I know it can be the experience for a lot of other women. It's like there's a level of making you feel like you had to hide it. Like it was a taboo thing. You didn't talk about it. You didn't talk about when you had your period. You hid it. You kept it secret. Like even when you come to the age where you start bleeding in school, like it's, you know, if you were to say to your teacher like, oh, I've got my period, oh, don't, like the male teachers would be like, oh, I don't want to know. And the female teachers like didn't even, I don't know, there was just a lack of communication about it, I think, for me growing up. And so that made me curious about it. But also I think that's what ends up playing out in most people's lives is that they just hide it. It's not that they're scared of it, it's that they hide from it. And in the hiding from it, we're not really embracing all of ourselves as women. And when we don't embrace all of ourselves as women and we try to live in a way that maybe doesn't honor the feminine aspects of ourselves that, you know, relate to those things of bleeding, then perhaps we have things come up that create illness or pain or other things down the track. So then we start to not like our period. Oh, it's a hindrance to have to bleed. It's painful. I get a headache. I get grumpy. All of these like symptoms start to come out when we deny who we are at our core, and then we end up being scared or not liking our bleeding time.
Or resenting it almost, or it's like, oh, they've got to go through this thing again.
Yeah. And I think society kind of plays into that as well. I mean, you can go back and think about how our world has been very patriarchally dominated. So it's no wonder that there has been a denying of the feminine and of our feminine things that happen to us.
Yeah, it's part of culture. You know, when I was growing up, it was always that throwaway line, like with your girlfriend when you're in high school, it's like, oh, she's on a period.
Yeah.
It's kind of disgusting when you think about it.
And the way that it said like, oh, she's on her rags and things like that. Like, again, it's all these connotations that are negative. And so, you know, the more input you have on a subject, the more you develop your opinion or your experiences or your beliefs around that subject. And if the connotations are always seen kind of negative or hidden, like it's no wonder that so many women have so many issues with their period and have so much hatred and pain and denial of that, like going on the pill and like going on the pill to get rid of your period or skipping your periods and things like that. Like, wow, that's makes me sad to think about. And, you know, I used to be there. I used to do all of those things. I was on the pill. I would skip my period because it was annoying to me and all of those sorts of things as well. But I'm sure we'll go into, I guess, the story of those things soon. But yeah, that's probably, there's so many different layers to it. There's so many different layers to the denial of the feminine in our culture. And then that has flowed on to the denial of our bodies in this culture too.